right. Well, I think we are rolling here. I probably ought to start about a minute earlier so that I can get things rolling at 9 o'clock. So tonight I thought I was going to be live on both TikTok and YouTube, and as it turns out, I don't know the calendar, so I am just live on YouTube tomorrow night. I will be live on both, and it looks like from here on out, I will be live on both. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. All right. So there's a lot happening right now. There is the market, whatever happened there on Friday. I have a pretty good idea, but we're going to, we'll get into that here in a minute. But we had the market downturn over the last week. It's not looking good. Things in the economy seem to be getting worse, not better. We've been talking about that for a while. So I just want to lay out first and foremost the key things I'm looking for this week. So tomorrow there's no indicators that come out. The first indicators that come out that we're looking for are Tuesday. New home sales on Tuesday. Now everything in the housing industry seems to be falling off a cliff. We'll see if the data continues on that trend. I'm sure it will. Also, Tuesday is the consumer confidence number and durable orders. Most importantly, durable orders minus transportation. Now, I am expecting that number to be positive because it looks like we're getting a lot of bulk stuff, bulk containers or bulk ships, dry good in, raw materials are getting imported. So that kind of tells me that possibly there's a little bit more ordering going on and some factory production going on. So I think we're seeing a little bit there. Keep in mind, we're always going to see some factory production. I don't think it's ever going to go to zero. And then on Wednesday, of course, Wednesday is my favorite day. Mortgage applications. Last week, mortgage applications were higher than the week before. This week, I don't know what they're going to be. Probably lower. They've been trending lower, even though they were higher than the week before last week. Mortgage applications have been off by 80% on refis and almost 30% on new purchase money. So, Gen X Dad, no, I don't know my dates. So apparently I can't go live till tomorrow night. So yeah, tomorrow night for sure. I went on there today, found out I didn't have my live, and I looked at the date. It said September 26th, not September 25th. So, apparently looking at a calendar is hard for me. Let's see. Advanced retail inventories come out on Wednesday. That number I'm going to have to dot plot with a bunch of other numbers to get a good feel for if that number is moving in the right direction or the wrong direction, because our wholesale inventories are so high right now. Pending home sales, another home. Yeah, could be Gen X. So pending home sales are another indicator that we're looking at this week, or that I'm looking at this week. I don't know who this we is. I don't have this whole team that works for me. It's pretty much just me. And And then we also have hold on, I'm trying to reset my comments here. All right. And then we also have oil inventories. We've had some oil refinery fires. We'll see if that's affected oil inventories yet, or if we're still a couple of weeks away from that impacting oil inventories at all. And then Thursday, we have initial unemployment claims. There's a couple other things, but that's the most important thing. And then Friday, we have personal incomes, but the most important thing is personal spending. The thing about personal spending that has been skewed has been they're like, well, the consumer's strong. Personal spending is up 7%. Well, yeah, but inflation is 9%, so the cost of everything is going up. So obviously they're going to be spending more money. It's just common sense. All right, so let's do a little bit of an around the horn here with marine traffic, since that's really what got a lot of you to find me. So first thing I want to do is I want to pull up this. I'm keeping an eye on this chart right here, if it comes up for us, maybe. But this chart is, on the left-hand side is export shipments. So we're looking at shipments from the last week. Hey, Joe. We're looking at shipments from the last week coming out of, and these are all different ports all over the world. This isn't just China. So we're starting to see a little bit of an increase in shipping out of the Chinese ports. Nahava Shiva, I don't know if I pronounced that right. This one's been up. We've been getting a lot more shipping out of this Indian port. This is a Western Indian port, so I would venture to guess that their stuff is coming through the Suez Canal and probably hitting New York, Virginia Beach, Philly, something like that. And then some of these others ports down here are pretty small, but and then on the left is exports, on the right is imports. And this one this is down because of the amount of shipping that has been coming over the last, I don't know, 4-5 weeks has finally been catching up with the ports. So you can see there, Houston is down, Savannah is down. Matter of fact, Houston only has 19 container ships. They were up around 30 just a little bit ago, and Savannah's at 36. They were up at around 40. Missa Dixon, what's up? So as the numbers on the left are starting to go green a little bit more, it's going to be, the numbers on the right won't reflect that for about 5 weeks. Or in Houston and Savannah's case, maybe not even for another 6 or 8 weeks. So 5 to 8 weeks is when the numbers on the left will start to show on the numbers on the right. It takes time for those things to play out, which is why a lot of times when I look at these numbers, I'll look at a monthly chart for maritime exports, and then I might look at a daily chart for the imports, just so I can get a better feel for what's coming in now versus what's on its way. This is one of the metrics that I use to figure out what is going on. All right, so let's take a look at some traffic. Oh, and just before we get into that, West Coast ports sink the lowest share of U.S. imports in the 1980s. Not a surprise there, because these companies don't want to deal with the West Coast ports. We all been talking about that for a while. They just don't. When all the cargo was put on the trains and those trains were jacked and all the stuff was stolen out of the back, no prosecution, companies are like, we're done. So they started having their stuff shipped east. Costs a little bit more money, but they're working their stuff more east. Just a quick reminder, if you like the content, be sure to hit the like button on there so we can start getting this stuff out on YouTube as well as TikTok when I finally get back live on there tomorrow night. Man, we're up to 27 tonight. Where am I going here? Marine traffic. All right. Let's zoom in on Houston here. Let's start with Houston. Here's something interesting before we go to Houston that I noticed. I was on here and I was like, I wonder where the hurricane is that's headed to Florida. And you know, when we were looking at the hurricane when it was, or the typhoon when it was hitting China and Japan, the boats, all the ships went around it. Well, the hurricane is like right in here, and the ships are just like, they don't care. They're going right through where the hurricane is. So I don't know why you would do it in one and not the other. But anyway, so Houston is, there are a ton of tankers out here. And what's interesting about Houston is they have this split anchorage. They have this split anchorage here. And a lot of what ends up over here, I think there's only one container ship on this side. Most of what ends up over here is general cargo ships, and over here is mostly container ships with the in anchorage. So anyway, there's 19 of these green dots are container ships. The rest of them are dry bulk, general cargo, what have you. I know some people have wanted me to check in on Mobile, and maybe some of y'all know. I haven't really found any container ships going into Mobile. Everything has been raw materials, more or less. So, Chris John, surprised that gas is not going up because of the storm. I think the track of the storm is not affecting rigs in the Gulf as much as if it, say, we're headed toward Houston, which was one of the spaghetti string cone of shame things that they had. But yeah, if the storm was going more west, for sure, I think it would definitely be affecting gas. And, you know, who knows? It may still affect gas prices as it gets a little closer to the coast. No bottled water in the stores in your area north of Pensacola. Wow. And, you know, Chris, I believe we were talking about on a live not too long ago that there was a lot of bottled water in warehouses. So kind of makes you wonder where it's all at. But yeah, it's been a super light hurricane season. Here is, whoa, that is not Savannah. So here is Savannah. Savannah was starting to loosen up a little bit. Now it's tightening up a little bit. They're back up to 36. They were down to almost 30 ships at anchor. So we'll Charleston's got a few. Virginia Beach has a few. New York has a few. Nothing really to get excited about, but Go over to Europe. Europe's got some backups. Europe's got some problems. By the way, the Nikkei has dropped over 2.5% since it opened. The Great Britain, the pound versus the dollar has also fallen 2% since their markets have opened. So there is definitely some interesting juju going on. And I don't follow currencies a lot, although right now I am, just because of everything that's going on. This is starting to loosen up a little bit outside of Rotterdam. We had ports over in Europe that were on strike, and that kind of backed everything up for a while. I saw that the Rhine was drying up, but there really hasn't been anything new out of that since that initial report. Traffic seems to be moving just fine on the Rhine. That rhymed. Sure. My wife's shaking her head. Everything seems to be moving pretty okay. Right now, the problem is we've been seeing lower demand at the retail level, but production has been up, and now they're starting to place some orders a little bit, but they've pulled back a lot. I mean, Walmart canceled over $1 billion in purchase orders, and keep in mind, anything that gets shipped over the next 4 weeks will not make it to retail until about mid-December to mid-January. So the overseas markets, Mrs. Dixon, some of them are up and running and some of them are still off. It just depends on the time zone that they're in. So most of Asia is on. I'll just kind of pull this over a little bit. I hate this for this, but Asia, this is currencies. All right, so futures market in the United States is on. Still futures in the United States. Shanghai, Nikkei, here's the Nikkei, it's down 2%. So Asian markets are open. Hong Kong, that's the Hang Seng. So the Asian markets are open. The Eastern Asian markets are open. So thank you for the products timing info. You're welcome, Mrs. Dixon. It took me a while I had to do some serious math on that when I first started doing this, because it was, it's like, okay, it takes 5 weeks to get to port, and then it takes, 3 days to get somewhere by train, but then it may sit at the port for 3 days, so that's a week. Then it gets put on a truck, and then it gets taken to a warehouse, and then it gets distributed from the warehouse to the retail. So you're looking at anywhere from 5 to 8 weeks or longer before you see the items at retail. So it is. It is definitely definitely something you don't think about until you sit down and have to actually put numbers to it. How does raising interest rate help the economy? Well, not raising rates doesn't help the economy either. See, the Fed was screwed one way or the other. If they raise rates, then they slow down the economy and get inflation under control. If they don't raise rates, then what happens is the market continues to go up, home prices continue to go up, auto prices continue to go up, pricing gets out of control, and salaries can't keep up, and then people want jobs, so then employers have to start raising their salaries. Then you get in this cycle of hyperinflation, so you think, well, the economy is getting better, but it's really not. So the Fed was screwed either way. They raise the rates and crash the economy, or they don't raise rates and they crash the dollar. And then eventually the economy crashes anyway. So they were in a no-win situation, really. And it will eventually help the economy because it'll kind of slow things down and get things under control. People's wages should start to catch up eventually. It will never... Look, wages never keep pace with inflation. At least not for the last 42 years. Companies have figured out that they don't need to keep up with inflation on wages, so they don't. They don't give you cost of living increases, and you continually lose ground, which is why I have a disagreement with a particular person that's out who's always saying, act your wage, but at the same time, the longer you act your wage, the worse it gets, because eventually you're going to need to make more money. It's just how it is. So, anyway, all right, back to some marine traffic stuff. And by the way, folks, when we're on YouTube and when I get back on TikTok, we're going to try to keep these YouTube lives to about 30 minutes because it'll give people a chance to actually watch them. I did one the other night that was like an hour and 6 minutes. I'm like, nobody's going to freaking watch that. So we'll do the heavy hitting stuff on YouTube. And then we can move over to TikTok where I can answer more of the questions, kind of like we were doing before TikTok, did their thing this week. But right now, that's throwing me off. I need to make myself a moderator. I have 2 YouTube accounts, and I'm watching on one of them. They gave her a cost of living bonus. A cost of living bonus? That feels icky. I mean, good that she at least got a cost of living increase, but to call it a bonus feels wrong. It should just be, it's not a bonus. Hey, it's a bonus. No, yeah. You guys know how I feel, man. Take care of people. Just take care of people. Pay them. You're not going to die as a company if you pay your people appropriately. You'll just end up as executives, as a CEO, you'll just make less. So instead of making $200 million a year, you'll only make $150 million a year. I'm sure you'll survive. And you have other opportunities to make more money anyway. So, all right. So right now, the bulk of our stuff is, before it comes to America, the point of origination is in China, but it's really coming out of Busan, South Korea. Before it comes over, right now there's probably about 5 ships over the next 8 weeks getting ready to leave Busan, South Korea for Houston. I'm kind of using the CMA CMG as a metric. It seems to be right on, and then I just have to carry it out for the different carriers that are out there. So it looks like we're getting about, over the next 8 weeks, it looks like we're going to get probably 15 to 20 container ships into Houston Port, is what it looks like. How many containers that is, it depends on the size of the ship. But, and just so you guys know, this is, look at all these unspecified ships over here. Now, what's crazy about these unspecified ships is it's really hard to tell what they are. Some of these are container ships and some of them are fishing vessels. And then here's what's interesting. I think some of these are just decoys. I think some of these are set up to be defensive decoys in the event of a conflict in the Asian theater. Because this is, I mean, they're basically building a wall. And again, some of these are fishing boats, some of these are container ships that aren't being used, and some of these are decoy ships. This cluster down here, I'm sure, is fishing boats. Maybe not. And then I don't know if anybody saw it, but there is this this whole incident with the largest produce market in the world going up in flames today over in France. And I find it interesting because the powers that be, Dr. Evil and his merry band of Bond villains, part of their plan is for food shortages, which they are getting without manufacturing them. I mean, we got enough weather around the world, which they're manipulating in some ways, but we got enough weather around the world that with drought, flooding, that we don't need it. But then the produce market in France goes up in flames, and oddly enough, it's produce, and yet the smoke, I don't know if any of you saw this, I'll see if I can pull this up. Yes, Zero Hedge, bear with me. I know some of y'all out there do not like Zero Hedge, but it's a good, there's a lot of junk on here, but that's just like any other outlet. Yeah, here we go. This smoke is awfully, well, maybe. This smoke is awfully black for being produce. I mean, that looks like kind of smoke you'd see in a tire fire. But yeah, they want their food shortage, and they're going to get it one way or another. And then, so this is obviously manufactured. There's no way that was an accident. And then if we went back to the other page, I don't know if y'all saw that as I scrolled by it, but there was this flash mob at Wawa in Philadelphia where people just decided to form a mob and ransack this Wawa store. Which, for those that don't know, there's an attorney general in Philadelphia that was Soros funded, and this is what we get. And then I think what's going to happen with this is I think this is going to happen more and more. I believe that this is probably funded by the open, whatever, one of Soros's many organizations. And what's going to happen is they're eventually, companies are just going to shut down, and I think they've already started to in like San Francisco. They're going to shut down, and then there's not going to be any food shipped to these places where these people have been stealing food from, and then it's going to make a bad situation worse. So I think we're looking at. I'm almost certain this is, Soros funded. So anyway, that is what I'm looking at for the week. And tomorrow we will definitely, since I don't know dates, tomorrow we will definitely be on both platforms, both YouTube and TikTok. And so with that, y'all, we're gonna get off here, and be sure to join the Discord. I'm always on Discord. You can ask questions on there, and we'll see y'all tomorrow night. So, Frazzled Dad out.